Good evening and welcome. I'm Bruce Mercer, Chairman of the Fort Bend County Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the Fort Bend Water Control and Improvement District Number 2 Candidate Forum. Tonight's program is to give the candidates an opportunity to share information with Fort Bend County residents prior to Election Day on May the 12th. I'd like to acknowledge our candidates tonight. There are 5 candidates running for 3 positions for WCID Number 2 Board. Let me introduce the candidates as they will appear on the ballot. First, to my immediate left, Lana Hosing. Next to Lana, Jody Court. And next to Jody is John Farrow. Next to John is John Rose. Next to John is Amada Rodriguez. Thank you, candidates, for being here tonight. Each candidate will be given 1.5 minutes for opening statements, and then 1.5 minutes for responses to the questions, and finally 2 minutes for closing remarks. Time limits will be observed. Our timekeeper, Leanne Gibson, will indicate time left for candidates and when to stop. Questions for tonight's candidate forum came from members of the media, industry experts, and interested citizens, and were gathered by the Fort Bend County Chamber of Commerce. Most of tonight's questions were randomly drawn by candidates before the forum began. Questions will not be taken from the floor this evening. At this time, I'd like to ask each of the candidates for an introduction. So I will call you in order, and please give us a 1.5 minute briefing on yourself and why you want to run for the WCID Number 2 Board of Directors. First, Ms. Lana Hosing.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you to the Fort Bend County Chamber of Commerce and Channel 16 for sponsoring this forum, and to the attendees and the viewers watching. I'm Lana Hosing, and I have chosen to seek election for a position of the Board of Directors at WCID Number 2 committee. That is my commitment to the community and district, and you, the residents, is my number one concern. I have resided with my husband in the Promenade subdivision for the past 15 years. We have a son, Cody, and 3 grandchildren. Over the years, I have had various encounters with the public and private sector in many parts of the country. I am semi-retired, have enjoyed the experience of working with the commercial building companies, insurance industry, and run an online business. I have served and continue to serve on various committees in this community and others. All of this, plus previously serving on the Board of Directors of WCID Number 2, has given me even more determination to use the experience to serve this district again. I will always work to keep tax rates and water rates low and the infrastructure sound and superior customer service. Let's continue to keep this district in the top 5 of the nation that has an ISO rating of 39.7 out of a 40 highest rating. I'm Lana Hosing, vote number 1 on the ballot, May the 12th. Thank you for your vote.
Thank you, Ms. Hosing. Next introduction is Mr. Jody Court.
Hello, my name is Jody Court. I'm running for Fort Bend, WCID number two on the ballot. I've been in the city of Stafford area for the last 44 years, my whole life, living on the same street next to my father. I am a volunteer firefighter with the city of Stafford. On May 21st, it'll be 21 years. I'm a firefighter paramedic with the city of Houston, also a captain at Station 70 on the D shift at Beamer in the Beltway. I've been serving the community, fighting fires, running medical calls for the last 20 years. I'm looking for a new challenge. I also have some experience in managerial areas. Back in 2007, I spent 5 years working in the command staff at EMS Command for the Houston Fire Department. I was challenged to come in and start a new paradigm in training. We had to cut the budget by about $5 million. We started out, and thank you, 30 seconds. We started out and we were able to do that in a short period of time. Started an online system for education and training. I took that same knowledge and experience and started my own consulting and education firm in EMS. We have my grandfather served on the board when it started in 1946. My uncles also served on the board, and now it's time to pass it on. I'm here to serve you, protect your tax dollars, I appreciate your vote. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Court. Our next introduction will be from John Farrow.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Farrow. I'm the only candidate seeking re-election as a director. I want you to know it's been a great honor and pleasure serving you for the past 17 years. I'm a native of Stafford residence and live here my whole life. I live in Vaquera Manor subdivision, and I have great pride in calling Stafford my hometown. For the past 33 years, I've been self-employed as president of the Farrow Land Investments, where I sell commercial real estate, and a current member of the Houston Association of Realtors. Over the years, I've been an active member of this community, serving on many boards. I am dedicated volunteer to various organizations, such as director of the SMSD Education Foundation, past president of the Stafford Economic Development Commission, past president of the Stafford Historical Society, life member of the Fort Bend County Fair, and member of the Houston Live Stock Show and Rodeo. Most recently, I was instrumental in raising money for our founding fathers and preserving the history of our community in honoring the Margaret Havens Memorial Garden, which is located in the island in the city of Stafford. I'm a member of Holy Family Catholic Church, where I usher every Sunday, and also a member of the building committee for Holy Family. I'm number 3 on the ballot.
Thank you, Mr. Farrow. Next introduction will be from John Rose.
Today, I'm ready to jump back into public service. I want to share with you my desire, my commitment, and knowledge that makes me the best qualified candidate for director of Fort Bend WCID. I'm a graduate of the University of Texas at Austin with a BBA in accounting. For 12 years, I served on Stafford City Council, where I had dealings with major issues. I served as chairman of the city's park committee, and I have a deep working knowledge of our community. I'm known as a problem solver. I have proven my commitment to the people of this district and community is undeniable. I have a much stake in the district's future, the same as you and your family, such as my wife and I own and operate a retail business in Stafford since 1984. We own a home in the district where we enjoy low property tax, and I will work hard to ensure that this benefit continues for all district residents. The combination of my education, city council experience, running a successful business, coupled with being a problem solver, will help me and provide an excellent service to the district we care so much about. My goals are to fix the water and sewer lines throughout the district, keep property tax low that we enjoy, keep the citizens informed of what's going on in the district. I want to improve the district, ranging from the legal advice all the way to each and every single vendor that does business in the district. I want to bring integrity to the business. When elected, I will dedicate myself to improving water service, and I want to serve you, and I'm asking you for your vote and support on May 12th. John Rose, I'm number 4 on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. And our final introduction is from Amada Rodriguez.
Hi, my name is Amada Rodriguez. I am a graduate from the University of Houston with a degree in civil engineering. I'm a professional civil engineer. I work in the top engineering firms in the world, and I do this for a living. I know what a water line, how to design water lines, sanitary storm. I can differentiate what is needed between a water line and sanitary line, and I know the district needs a director that knows the lingo of what's going on out there. I know that I can bring a lot of education to the district, and hopefully the candidates will know that. TCQ appointed me in a vacant, unexpired position because they knew I was the right person for that position, and hopefully all the people out there can vote on May 12th and see that I'm the right person for this position.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. Now, I will ask questions that the candidates will answer in a round-robin order, and we will stagger the order sequentially. If you don't know what that means, just look to me and I'll tell you when you need to go. Hopefully, I've got it figured out.
Roger that.
The first question, and the candidate who will start the answer to this question will be Ms. Hosing, and the question is, in your view, what are the most important responsibilities of the Board of Directors in this district?
I believe that the most important thing for a director of this district is to make sure that they move forward and use the money and the provisions that they have wisely. that they keep all of the infrastructure strong. They take care of us during times of drought and make sure that they stay ahead of all of the most important things that keep our district strong and make sure that everything runs smoothly. It is them as the board of directors that makes the decisions. It's not just one person, and they are very good at what they do, and I feel like that since I've served on that board, I have the ability and the knowledge to help them make the right decisions to keep our district strong.
Thank you, Ms. Hosing. And Mr. Court, same question. In your view, what are the most important responsibilities of the Board of Directors in this district?
Well, I agree with Lana that you have to have sound mind and judgment. You got to have a good grasp on finances. I've worked for the Houston Fire Department downtown in the command structure, and I've seen government waste that go rampant. We had money in the budget, and by God, we had to spend it because July 1st was coming. So whatever we had in our budget, we weren't going to get next year. The way I live my life is you pay as you go. And I feel that when we have money, just because we have your dollar in our pocket doesn't mean that we need to spend it. When you look at our decisions, make sound decisions and move forward. Keep our ISO rating up, okay? Be ready for the transition when we have to go from 30% to 60% surface water. Look at the outcomes of that. Be willing to go out and train and learn and improve my knowledge about the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Court. And Mr. John Farrow, same question. In your view, what are the most important responsibilities of the Board of Directors in this district?
The most important directors of the district is managing the district, make sure that the tax money that comes in is spent very wisely. Put in infrastructure, surface water, laws are changing. We should be up front at all times. We have surplus of funds. We ought to find it where we can put it lines in the ground. We can't sit here and not hold money and not do this for this. We just should manage the road, make wise decisions, and do what we do for the best for the citizens. The citizens come first.
Thank you, Mr. Farrow. And next, John Rose, same question. In your view, what are the most important responsibilities of the Board of Directors in this district?
The most important responsibility of the director of Fort Bend WCID, number 2, is to make sure our citizens have quality water now, tomorrow, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. Also, we want to make sure that by doing that, that they don't put a heavy tax burden on the consumer of the water, and also have excellent sewer service and watch and make sure that all the infrastructure is working so that everybody can have water and sewer system within the district.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. And same question, Amada Rodriguez. In your view, what are the most important responsibilities of the Board of Directors in this district?
We'll make decisions for the benefit of the residents of the district. Again, use the taxpayers' money wisely, making sure everyone has clean water and does not have black water backing into their homes. And also making sure that as the population is growing, we are doing our best to increase the capacity we have in our system to provide everybody with the same pressurized water without saying, okay, I open my faucet and they don't have water because, the demand is so high, but we don't have that water. So for sure, making sure the residents have clean water and their infrastructure is in great shape.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. That's the end of the first round of questions. Second round of questions begins with Jody Court, and it's question number 6. Missouri City recently requested the TCEQ appointed director to the WCID number 2 board. The board had requested to leave the position vacant. How do you feel about this, Mr. Court?
Well, I also put my name in the hat. Of course, I didn't send it off to TCEQ. I didn't want to go the extra step for that. I never realized that people had put in for it. The person that they filled it with, the TCEQ felt they were capable of doing the position. As for that, I really have no comment on that, on the person who they filled it with. I do say the board made a decision. They stuck by their guns. Of course, they got overruled by TECQ, so they had to go on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Court. And John Farrow, same question. Missouri City recently requested the TCEQ appointed director to the WCID number 2 board. The board had requested to leave the position vacant. How do you feel about this, sir?
Well, I was very shocked when this happened, because we were, all four of us was talking and I guess bickering who we wanted on the board. Couldn't bicker. Why? The person that applied the application, or the people who helped her get on the application on the board, we did not know at the last minute, and we were shown that if we don't pay attention to what we're doing, it's as important as a director that somebody can come in from the back door and get in. I'm still upset about it, because I didn't think this would happen. I don't think it ever happened to us in WCID number 2 in the history of the district. It might happen in other districts, but I just don't think that was the right thing to do, because we had asked 2 people to be on the board. We couldn't agree who we wanted to, but we turned right around. And she came in from the back door by asking senators and state representatives to be appointed on the district. I didn't think it was right. We must work together. We must work as a team. We made the motion to do so. We just couldn't put it across. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farrow. And John Rose, same question. Missouri City recently requested the TCEQ appointed director to the WCID number 2 board. The board had requested to leave the position vacant. How do you feel about this, sir?
I think the TECQ should have left it vacant, because that's what the board had requested and what they voted on. And Missouri City had originally put in the request in the fall, and the TECQ did not make a decision at that time. For sake of me, I don't know why they waited till only 2 months prior to the election to appoint somebody. And the only reason why I think that they did that was to give the individual a better chance of winning a place on as a director. But I don't think that this was done properly, and I'm I do not really like someone in Austin deciding on what should be done here locally.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. And Amada Rodriguez, same question. Missouri City recently requested the TCEQ appointed director to the WCID number 2 board. The board.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
Just anxious to answer this question.
The board requested to leave the position vacant. How do you feel about this?
I was the person appointed by TCQ. If they appointed me, it's because they knew I was the right person for the position. I'm a professional civil engineer. I do this for a living. I don't see why they wouldn't. And to answer the comment about the back door, I don't see how I got in from the back door. I applied for the position. TCQ, knowing what they're doing, they selected me because I was the right person for the position. It wasn't to do anything with Missouri City, anything to do with Stafford. Contrary to what people believe, I came in because I was the right person for the position. I applied, I got selected. Why they took so long to put me in, I have no answer for that question. But again, if they saw that I was the right person for the position, I'm pretty sure the rest of the residents in the district will see that too.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. And again, same question to Lana Hosing. Missouri City recently requested the TCEQ appointed director to the WCID number 2 board. The board had requested to leave the position vacant. How do you feel about this?
Well, I understand that the board was having problems deciding who to appoint to the board. It was always a 2-to-2 decision. TECQ and the state legislature makes the rules that govern the water districts and the mud districts. I feel like they were basically within their right to step up to the plate and appoint someone. I understand there was more people that applied for it, and they chose the best person they felt for the position.
Thank you, Ms. Hosing. The next round of questions is question number 4, which is, why are some approved projects in the district not being completed? And our first candidate to answer this question is John Farrow.
The projects are being completed, sometimes the board of any entity or public entity sometimes can slow one project in another. One project that we did not complete as fast as the one on Craven Road water line. We had emergency come up on Brand Lane, and we had to take some of that funds to fix the Brand Lane because the road was splitting up and quicksand was in that area. We are moving fastly. Also the Brand Lane water and sewer line, we held back because the county has asked us to do that, and the city of Stafford asked us to do that. But all the projects have been completed as we said we're going to do. We just slow them up or move them one ahead against the other because we need sometime emergency come up. You never know when something happens. A well could go down, anything could go down. You have to do something quickly, and that's how you get it. We asked TCQ for the answers to move this funds from this project to another project.
Thank you, Mr. Farrow. John Rose, why are some approved projects in the district not being completed?
I guess that what they're talking about, approved projects, are approved projects that the bond was sold on. And the issue here is that when the bonds are up for election, they just ask for a total amount. They don't break down the bonds by items that is going to be broken down in actually the language that's being voted on. It is placed on the flyers and distribution of letters going out there, and the water district is saying they're abiding by the law. But what they really need to do is, even though that might be the minimum requirement, they should have each item that the bond is for on the ballot, so that way that the water district is bound by using that money for the use of those each project that's listed on that bond ballot.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. And Amada Rodriguez, why are some approved projects in the district not being completed?
Well, I recently got as the board director for this district, so I wouldn't, to be frank honest, I wouldn't know what projects have not been completed. But from what I've seen, the bonds were sold at 6.7. They have been broken up into what projects need to get done. Our district, our personnel is getting to it to make sure that the money is being used wisely. So I am not sure what they mean with some projects are not being completed when, from what I've seen, the money that we got from the bonds, they're distributing it to what they told the residents that we're going to do with the money.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. Lana Hosing, why are some approved projects in the district not being completed?
Well, contrary to what has been said, the projects that go up for bonds are always listed in the amounts or estimated as to what they need for each job to be finished. They have the authority, once they go over the projects with TECQ, if there is an emergency, to move funds from another project on that bond to where the emergency is and fix that first. But eventually, all the money on the bonds that were sold will be dealt with in a very timely manner.
Thank you, Ms. Hosing. Jody Court, why are some approved projects in the district not being completed?
Okay, when I get elected, I will research that and get back with you on why these projects aren't going to be completed. Okay, as of right now, I do not understand exactly what the question is actually asking. But as an administrator, you're going to have to take your dollars and sit there. You can only spend so much at a time when we have so many projects under construction. We can't rip up, we're going to replace all the streets in Stafford or Missouri City. You can't take them all out at the same time. You got to work on a certain section so people can get to and fro, so we can get emergency apparatus, so we can get our garbage picked up. Okay, so as things come up, we got to prioritize what needs to be done, and your project, which may have started in September, may be pushed back till October of the next year because there's an emergency that we have to take care of, or there's a big break. Okay, in the city of Houston, we drive in the apparatus and we go through a subdivision right down the street from the fire station. We had 9 water main breaks on one street. It was approximately about 1.5 miles long. Okay, our concern was, are we going to have water there for fighting fire? Okay, if we had the same situation here in our district, okay, as the captain on the fire department, I'd want to know that, hey, we're going to get this fixed, and they may have to pull them off the Crestmont project to get them over there and fix these issues. So it may take a little longer, and the public may not be happy with it, but if you're not happy with what we do, don't vote us in. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Court. The question for the next round for the candidates, the answer will start with John Rose, and the question is, how do you handle the industrial wastewater in your district?
Being from industry, that I believe the industry should treat the water until it's acceptable for our system. They shouldn't be dumping industrial waste into our sewer system, so we want to make sure that if we have industrial that comes into the city, that they are able to treat their industrial waste until it's acceptable to our system where we can treat it.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Amada Rodriguez,
I
how do you handle the industrial wastewater in your district?
Sorry about that. I agree with Mr. John Rose. Before we accept into a wastewater treatment plant, we make sure that they meet a level of, just a level before they come into our system. And at that point, we treat it like any other waste from residential and make sure that once it reaches the effluent stage, it meets TCQ standards to go out to the bayous.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. Lana Hosing, how do you handle the industrial wastewater in your district?
Well, I have to agree with Amada. I know that the district is very conscious about making sure that wastewater is treated properly. They follow the guidelines that are set forth by TCQ, and they are working diligently to find other ways to use the water. In my opinion, the water is everything that they take care of, in my opinion, is usable. And case in point, they have a fish aquarium in the district that is filled with potable water. So that speaks for itself.
Thank you, Ms. Hosing. Jody Court, how do you handle the industrial wastewater in your district?
Well, I believe the TECQ and the EPA would set the standards on how those, before that water is released into the sewer system and delivered to the sewer plant for treatment, will be pretty set forward in stone. Okay, it'd be nice to know that we had some type of system where we could detect we have a possible chemical leak at one of these plants, and then it came into the sewer system and didn't disrupt the treating agents that we have at the sewer plant.
Thank you, Mr. Court. John Farrow, how do you handle the industrial wastewater in your district?
Well, first of all, we have a manhole near that facility, or either down the street or some location. We take it and we test the water on a daily basis. We watch it very carefully. We do not want that industrial stuff water go in our sewer plant. In some of those industries, we come back, we have environmental engineers who check that water on a daily basis and turn right around, and sometimes we find the companies for dumping that water in there. They know that nobody has to dump that wastewater in our sewer lines.
Thank you, Mr. Farrow. Our next question is, how is the surface water groundwater mixed system working? And our first candidate to answer this is Amada Rodriguez.
Well, groundwater, surface water, both treated with chloramines. They're working well. People are getting water, contrary to the belief that the surface water is corroding the pipe, which irks me as an engineer to tell people that surface water is not corroding the pipe. If that was the case, I wouldn't be standing here without my skin if it was corroding this iron pipe. So it's working well. I know people are not liking the idea that we transfer to surface water, but for the benefit of our city, meaning Stafford, Missouri City, of our district, we need to change now that we were forced by the Fort Bend County Subsiding District to switch to surface water. I think it's working well. Groundwater, surface water. With chloramines, people are getting their clean, quality water at home.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. Lana Hosing, how is the surface water groundwater mixed system working?
Well, like Amada, I know that they use chloramines when they are mixing the water. You have groundwater mixing in with surface water. Our surface water treatment plant is at the top of its class. They have membranes that virtually nothing can get through. I don't know why people seem to think because we have surface water that it's really a bad thing. I think it's a wonderful thing. But the point of it is, they were mandated to do surface water. It takes a lot of stress off of groundwater wells, and I don't have any problem with surface water at my house. I enjoy it because I feel like I'm getting better water from the surface water. A lot of people are still on well water, and I think the Promenade is very fortunate to have this. If there is a problem, it's certainly not from the surface water. It's from groundwater. Groundwater has a lot of stuff in it, and it corrodes the pipes. So I think they're doing an excellent job in mixing these two properties, and they always test the water diligently to make sure it's high quality.
Thank you, Ms. Hosing. Jody Court, how is the surface water groundwater mixed system working?
Well, personally at my house, we have water every day. There's no fires burning in town. You're welcome, Mr. Mayor. We've been able to put them out with that. The standards are set by TECQ in the state and EPA. So, it's kind of out of the board's control, or any water district or mud district's control, on how much surface water we're going to take. They're trying to build back up the aquifers, stop ground subsidence. So, there's some controversy out there. There will always be controversy regardless of whatever you do. Okay, so we look at going to surface water. Some people say there's different taste. I personally haven't noticed it. Our system is so good that while everybody else was turning off the spigots last summer, when the drought was at its highest, we weren't on any type of water restriction. Okay, we had that much water. I think the board and everybody else did a good job. I think they're doing a good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Court. John Farrow, how is the surface water groundwater mixed system working?
Well, in my opinion, it's working real good. There's some concerns. Does everything. That surface water plant is the state of the art. It was designed to 3 million gallons. Now we're only pumping 2 million gallons. We have all those wells pumping. We changed some things. Instead of using chlorine on the wells, we're using chloramine on all of it. And there's concern. People are complaining. But we're going to work through this problem. So we're testing some of the pipes that people complain. The water is on the north side of the railroad tracks in Stafford, Texas, not getting surface water. It may trickle some over there. It's all on this side, on the south side. But we think it's working really. It's got some concerns. There's a lot of citizens are complaining about the water. The chloramine is eating their pipes, but we're going to test it and work it and get back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Farrow. John Rose, how is the surface water groundwater mixed system working?
As far as the surface water mixing system is working, for my experience, my water smells. When I get into the shower in the morning, it stinks to high heaven. I have some issues with the water because it does not smell very well. Naturally, when you're used to, after you're in the shower for a while, you get used to the smell and you don't smell it anymore. But I do have some issues with it, and I don't know how they're mixing it. Maybe I could do better with a egg beater, but as far as the water that I'm receiving at my house, it smells.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. I'm told we have time for another round of questions, so let me read the question and we'll start again with Lana Hosing. The question is, number 5, how will the debt load of the district and the increased agreements with other areas affect the availability of water and sewer service to the citizens of Stafford? Ms. Hosing.
I don't believe that the debt that the district has is that big of an amount, considering the size of the district. Their debt is $59 million. To me, that's a very small amount, considering all of the customers that they have in their district to take care of. As far as it affecting the citizens, it will not affect the citizens of Stafford. Stafford is their biggest customer as far as the usage. They pay for their share, and the other areas also pay the same amount, the same price for the amount of water that they use. I believe that we have a sound board that constantly looks at their budget, and they don't really get in over their heads where they can't afford to pay for their bills. We have an excellent system in operations now, and like I said, I'd like to be a part of that again, because to me, when you're rated in the top 5 of the nation, you're doing pretty darn good.
Thank you, Ms. Hosey. Jody Court, how will the debt load of the district and the increased agreements with other areas affect the availability of water and sewer service to the citizens of Stafford?
Well, in my opinion, the district's doing a lot better than the federal government on that, on their debt load. The projects that they have in the works, and you're talking about the debt load they have, which is, I believe, around 3% of what their assets are worth, which is pretty small, and probably one of the top mud and water districts, independent water districts inside the state. And then we look at that bond election that was passed, they have mapped out the future for the district. So as more homes move in and more development comes in, they've already pre-planned having more pumping stations, larger sewer mains, larger water lines going into those areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Court.
You're welcome.
John Farrow, how will the debt load of the district and the increased agreements with other areas affect the availability of water and sewer service to the citizens of Stafford?
Well, I don't think it's going to affect if the taxes are 18 cents and it's all over. But a lot of citizens are complaining that we are 80% of the city of Stafford is the water district. The other 20% is in Missouri City. A lot of growth in that area. We're building a lot of water lines in that area. The city of Stafford is almost built out, but here we are, we're paying for a lot of the debt, a lot of the infrastructure in the city of Missouri City. As far as water, we have so much water, we have almost 10 million gallons a day pumping. We have a lot of water. I don't feel like that we should pay for all of the debt that incurred by someone else in here, but we have enough water and a supply of this problem.
Thank you, Mr. Farrow. John Rose, how will the debt load of the district and the increased agreements with other areas affect the availability of water and sewer service to the citizens of Stafford?
Well, 80%, like John Farrow was saying, of basically the assessed values in Stafford. And basically, when infrastructure is being put in new areas which are outside of Stafford or other areas, then there's a cost. And my understanding that the cost that's occurring in Missouri City, that when the infrastructure is put in by the business or whatever, or developer, that possibly a rebate is being given to the developer. This had never had occurred in the city of Stafford, and not one person was able in Stafford to take this benefit where they got reimbursed for putting in the infrastructure. I think that every taxpayer should be treated equally and treated fairly, and by having the burden put on the present taxpayers for that they had to do, but now the newer users don't have to do, is not fair at all. And I think that that type of structure needs to be changed.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. And the question again for Amada Rodriguez, how will the debt load of the district and the increased agreements with other areas affect the availability of water and sewer service to the citizens of Stafford?
It won't. The appraised value for last year was 2.3. This year, the appraised billion, I'm sorry, to $2.3 billion. This year, the appraised value is $2.9 billion. The debt is $59,595,000. The debt ratio is 2%. And with the question how it affects it, the citizens of Stafford should be the citizens of the district. It won't, because our district is getting, we look at everything, what is growing, and make sure that all of our citizens, all of our residents get enough water. Right now, we are using 4.5 million gallons a day of water, and we have a capacity of 9.6 million gallons a day. So us incorporating other areas, it won't affect our residents. And another thing, with the 80% of Stafford being in the district and 20% of Missouri City, it seems that people tend to lose focus on the district and start focusing on Missouri City, Stafford. We should be focusing on the residents of the district. And yes, Stafford, 80% of Stafford is in the district, but yet when the bonds come in, the first projects that get fixed are the projects in Stafford, and yet Missouri City residents are still paying for that, and they're paying their 18 cents per $100 in property tax, and people don't say anything on that.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. Thanks to my incredible moderating skills, we are a bit ahead of schedule, so that we've got time for yet one more round of questions. And that question is this: what are your views on water conservation, particularly after last year's drought? And we'll start with Jody Court.
All right, my thoughts on water conservation, just come see my yard, okay? Even though my neighbor was watering and got a nice pretty green yard, I think it's up to all of us to conserve for the future. Water is going to be bigger than oil eventually. In some countries, in Africa and other places where it's pretty arid, it's already a big issue. Take Lake Mead out in Nevada, okay? Their water's going down like buckets. Actually, they've taken up grass in those areas and actually put stone out in people's front yards, okay? We need to be thinking about that. Sure, we can supply 9 million gallons of water. We're only doing 4 million. But we need to think about how we're going to conserve water. Water is our future. We can only live 4 days without a drink of water, versus we can go 30 days without food. We can go a lifetime without oil. Okay, they did it long before when they sailed over in 1492. They didn't have it. Okay, they had to work really hard for it. I think that I like saving money. I like conserving the environment. Okay. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your vote on May
Thank you,
12th.
Mr. Court. John Farrow, what are your views on water conservation, particularly after last year's drought?
Last year was a tough year. It was really hot and droughts all over the state of Texas. Probably the first time we've seen it in a long time. WCID number 2 has a lot of water. Use it. Water your yard, your trees, wash your car twice a day. We have a lot of water. Do not waste your time. It's very important. Look what's happened to the oil industry. I remember some of you in his thing said $27.9, $1.50, $2, and now it's a shortage of oil. We have plenty of water, folks. Use it. There's no drought. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farrow. And John Rose, what are your views on water conservation, particularly after last year's drought?
I believe in water conservation. I believe you should only use what you need. And my understanding, the water district does have plenty of water, and you should be able to use what you need. You should water your house enough so your slab doesn't crack, and so that you should, still conserve your water, but you need to take care of your assets at your home. So since they do have a lot of water, then use only what you need and take care of what you have, and don't overuse the water. Try to conserve as much as you can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Amada Rodriguez, what are your views on water conservation, particularly after last year's drought?
Well, I believe we should always be cautious of how we use the water, but I know last year, when many other cities were restricting the residents of water usage, we weren't. We use 4.5 million gallons a day, and we bought 10.5 million gallons from the Gulf Coast Water Authority, so we have 7.5 water just there, ready for us to use. So I'm proud to say that the district is doing a great job, that we don't have to worry about that because we have so much water. But yet, as you have to be a cautious resident and not just use water just to use it. But I can gladly say that our district is doing a great job, that we don't have to worry about that.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. And Lana Hosing, what are your views on water conservation, particularly after last year's drought?
Well, I'm very happy that this district has the integrity that it has and that they plan for the future. They have enough water supply for us and their constituents to last to 2050. I do conserve water at my home. Unfortunately, where I live, some of the yards took a really bad hit because someone informed them that they were on water restriction. My suggestion to people in this district, if you have a question about water, call the water district and ask them. There was no water restriction, and a lot of homes have beautiful yards because of it, but we are conservative. The district is conservative, and I think the majority of the people are conservative. I don't know about other subdivisions, but I don't see a lot of people washing their cars and wasting water. I think we all try to conserve as much as possible. Fortunately, some of us don't have a lot of people living with us, but families that do, they do go through a lot of water. But we need to remember that we have the lowest water rates of anybody around. Even though you want to conserve your water, you're still very fortunate. Our water bills probably are like $36 an average compared to $72 at Rosenberg, $71 at Richmond and the city of Houston. Commercial, it's $134, and some of the bills in Houston and Sugar Land go up to $283. So I think, sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Hosing. We're going to hear closing statements now from our candidates. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for the closing remark, and we will start in opposite order of the introductory remarks. So first, we'll hear from Amada Rodriguez.
I hope the residents of the district see that I am the right choice for the district. Again, I'm a civil engineer. I do this for a living. I understand the lingo of when, our engineer says, oh, we need to fix the sanitary line, we either slip line it or pipe burst it. I understand the difference, and I understand what is cheaper for our district. I also think the fact that TCQ appointed me after I applied, and they knew that I was the right person, that should tell the residents that they saw something in me, and hopefully the rest of the residents within the district will see it too.
Thank you. Next is John Rose.
I want to thank the viewers for tuning in tonight, and the people in the audience for listening. Let it be known that it's time for the Water District to step up and work with the community and keep them informed on current issues facing the families of the district. Our board needs to be advocates of the community. The board needs to look into creative ways to streamline operation costs. There are a number of ways to address these issues besides putting it on the backs of the taxpayers. I pledge to be an advocate of all of our residents of the district. We will need a board members who are here to represent the citizens of the district, not to take advantage of the financial benefits of the office. I believe in my private sector experience and years at city council gives me the knowledge on how to get things done. When elected, I will dedicate myself to improving the water quality, and I'm committed to making a difference. I want to restore the integrity of the district, and I want to serve you again. Please, I ask you for your vote and support on May 12th. Thank you very much. I look forward to working hard for you and earning your trust. Vote for me, John Rose, number 4 on the ballot. As the commercial says, this is John Rose, and I approve this message.
Thank you. Next is John Farrow.
When our district was created, its boundaries were approximately 6 square miles, known as mostly farmland. Today, we have served approximately 12 square miles, known as the 3rd largest public entity east of the Brazos River, and we are growing rapidly. There's no surprise, we face new challenges. Most recently, with the controversy of surface water, many residents are being affected and share these concerns. Let me assure you that the district is aware of these issues and the progress of this investigating and testing the water to ensure the solution of these problems are in place. I will continue to have an open door policy and welcome your concerns that you have. As a director, I support lower taxes. I pledge to continue to keep our tax rate as low as possible and continue to promote lower water rates. I push to ensure the infrastructure of older subdivisions, they're very important to me, and I will stir to decide this through. I believe that a new developer, and I do believe that any developer and customer entering our district should be treated equally. It should not be given the same fee structure that fees have in place now are not being applied equally. That troubles me. As a director, I offer more than 17 years of service on this board, and tonight I ask your support and continue to do so. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm number 3 on the ballot. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Next is Jody Court.
I'm running for the water district because I feel like I can serve the community. I've been protecting the community and its citizens and the businesses for the last 21 years. You can talk to my wife. She'll be more than happy to air her grievances about that. Getting up in the middle of the night, leaving important meetings, missing dinner with the kids and the family to go out and serve the community. I'd like the new challenge of running for the water board and work on that side. I have a degree from West Texas A&M in emergency management. I have a degree from Houston Community College in fire protection technologies. I can bring an asset to the board with my knowledge and experience of the fire service. Also in running emergency situations, like when we had Ike come through, okay? Or we have some type of tropical storm like Allison. I'm used to these type of incidences, managing people. I've had several people who work directly for me, underneath me, when I was working for the Houston Fire Department. I run and manage a station of 8. I'm the district training officer for my district, and I make sure that my 45 guys out there in the station are well versed on the latest and greatest things in the fire service, and that they are safe and they operate in a safe manner. That is my responsibility. My responsibility to you is to serve you as somebody who can manage your money, somebody who will protect the infrastructure of the district. We don't want to play catch up on types of water and sewer issues. We want to be proactive. We want to look towards the future and plan ahead so that our failure to plan doesn't constitute an emergency on your part. I am Jody Court. I approve this message. Thank you very much. I'm number 2 on the ballot. I appreciate your vote. Have a good night.
Thank you. Next is Lana Hosing.
I want to thank the Fort Bend Chamber of Commerce and Channel 16 again for holding this forum. Also the people that are here tonight and the people that are viewing us. You, the customer, will always be able to talk to me about your problems, and you will have my full attention. My promise to you is to always do the best that I can to serve the district, which is you. If there is a question and I don't have the answer, I will get the answer for you and get back to you. The best economical plan, keeping taxes low, water rates low, continue to replace old infrastructure that has met its life expectancy, planning for the future growth that will continue to cover having enough water in droughts, having backup during hurricanes, having the manpower to cover all the hours of operations is a must for keeping #1 rating and staying in the top 5 of the nation. With sound planning and good financial planning, that is in place in this district, it has earned this rating quite literally. I want to keep it that way. Honest, dedicated, experienced, fair, qualities that are important to me, and I hope they are for you. Thank you for coming tonight. I'm number 1 on the ballot. I appreciate your vote.
Thank you. That concludes our program. I want to thank the candidates for participating in tonight's forum. Thank you for coming and for watching. And please remember that early voting begins April 30th and Election Day is May 12th. Thank you. Good night.